I'm Tyler Suiters here in the Energy News Center. You know Jeff Biggers. He is an author who has talked extensively about the effects of coal on the United States, especially socially and culturally. He joins us now with his new book, Reckoning at Eagle Creek. And Jeff, it's good to have you back with us.
Thanks so much for having me on the program.
A bit of a change for you. Primarily in the past, you focused on Appalachia, the effects of coal mining on those cultures. Now you're taking it into the Heartland, as the book says.
I mean, I think we often forget the reality that coal was first discovered in the Midwest in Illinois with the French all the way back to the 16th century. And so much of our nation's energy policy actually came out of the heartland and eventually shifted into the big coal fields of Appalachia and now, of course, in the western states of Wyoming. But the Midwest has a terrific history that can really inform today's experience. And that's really what I wanted to capture, was how that incredible history in the heartland of the American experience in our coal industry really reflects what we're doing today.
What is the reception that coal generally gets in Illinois? Is it a similar love-hate relationship as we see quite often in Appalachia?
Yeah, it really depends, I think, where you're coming from. You know, I think as we both know, our relationship with coal transcends any kind of party politics. That liberal Democrats in the Midwest are as almost beholden to the big coal industry as conservative Republicans in the South, for example. And so coming from the coal fields, my family is from Southern Illinois. My grandfather was a coal miner, a union coal miner, and we've lived in Illinois for 200 years in the back Shawnee Hills. What we realize, though, is the real cost of coal has changed the way we really view the industry, that we often sort of gloss over the staggering human environmental cost of coal on the local people, the local communities. And I think that's really part of the experience in Illinois that I want to try to get out.
Jeff, we've talked a number of times about the effect of mountaintop removal mining in Appalachia. Is that also a flashpoint in Illinois as well, in the heartland, the similar potentially or truly environmentally dangerous practice?
Right. You know, strip mining actually got its groove in Illinois. In fact, strip mining, the birth of strip mining began in the 1850s in eastern Illinois with their horses and scrapers. And then we went from the steam power shovels, of course, that led to all sorts of disasters, to the walking drag lines, to today using ammonium nitrate fuel oil explosives to literally blow up mountains. So we've really felt like we've endured a century of an environmental war and assault on the area using strip mining. Mountaintop removal is really the final stage. You know, we've lost over 500 mountains in Appalachia, but at the same time we've lost literally thousands of fertile acres of farmland and beautiful hills in the Midwest.
You mentioned the role that politicians have had, and our president is from Illinois, and he has backed what he calls clean coal technology since he was in the Senate. Just last week we heard a presidential memorandum out of the White House basically laying out a federal strategy for carbon capture and storage technology, the process to capture the CO2 out of coal emissions, store them primarily underground, and he has a goal of commercial plants by 2016. Is carbon capture and storage the answer for the coal industry in terms of becoming to some degree environmentally friendly, or is the mining process itself just too damaging in your mind?
Right. Absolutely, clean coal is the greatest sham, in my personal opinion, that we've embarked on. To me, it's the new bridge to nowhere for the great Midwest. It's really a jobs program, and we know it. There's not one scientist who can come onto your program and look you straight in the face and tell you that we actually know that we have the technology to do this within the next 10 years, that's going to be economically feasible, that we actually know how to deal with any potential accidents and storage issues, that we actually have the wherewithal mechanisms to store the carbon and capture. What we're trying to do is figure it out. And of course, I think what President Obama is trying to do with his task force is to ramp it up and really take this beyond the experimental phase into something we can do commercially. But we still don't know. What we do know, and this is very important, Tyler, is that any kind of carbon capture and storage plant is going to increase the burning of coal by about 30%. Because even though they're much more efficient in burning the coal in these kind of experimental plants, the energy that it takes to put it back into the ground is going to cancel that out. And so we're going to be doing even more coal mining, even more destruction. And that's something we're trying to get across to the president. You know, there was a young liberal Democrat in the 1890s named Francis Peabody from Chicago who took out ads for smoke-free clean coal. And this whole clean coal motto has been used for a century in Illinois, be it for sulfur dioxide emissions and acid rains, oh, we have clean coal, be it for coal to liquid, oh, we have clean coal. And the truth is, we understand in Illinois that it's a complete sham, that it's not really going to help our clean energy future, that any kind of discussion about coal, any kind of bankrolling and subsidies for this program. Think about it. We've given $1.4 billion last year just on a down payment. All this is going to blindside our clean energy future.
Yet that is still a term that the president and his Green administration use time and time again. That is clean coal technology. Jeff, final question. I'd like your analysis on an objective series of statistics here. The Energy Information Administration said that coal production and coal generation, that is using coal to generate electricity, are both down over the last 12 recorded months. In fact, the generation is down from 49% of our electricity generated here in the U.S. to 45%. What does that indicate to you? A preparation for climate legislation?
I think it is. You know, I think it's, I'm very happy right now, and I'm incredibly optimistic that our nation is moving toward a coal-free future. That for the first time in 25 years, we had stockpile of coal during the summer. You know, and this is really a great sign. You know, not only are we having a huge increase in renewable energies like wind and whatnot and solar, but I think our nation is realizing that we have to make a shift, we have to make a transition, and it has to happen now. The difference with me is we need a president and we need a Congress that commits to a coal-free future, that says, of course, we're not going to end coal mining tomorrow. You know, we do get 45% of our electricity, but perhaps by 2020 or 2030 or even 2040, but until we recognize that we're going to live without coal one day because of climate change, we're never going to get off it. We're going to continue to do these kind of gerrymanders that lead us to carbon capture and storage or whatnot. And that, to me, is the bold statement we really need to make.
Jeff Biggers is described as a journalist, an author, and a cultural historian. His new book is Reckoning at Eagle Creek, A Secret Legacy of Coal in the Heartland. Jeff, it's always good to have you with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Tyler Suiters. You're watching Clean Skies News.